Everyone. Russell Wright, Network Empire, Tech Foundation Certification, Level 1, Week 5. Right, Matt? Week 5, yeah.
Yeah, week 5.
And we're going to be doing a dance back and forth between Week 4 and 5. Matt's going to get into that. It's really good to see all of you. Let's just do our opening things. Looks like if you could give us a 1 that you heard myself and Matt just have that conversation. Hi, Welton. It's good to see you. Boy, you are very disciplined. Welton was with us on the automatic broadcasting course kickoff yesterday. Hello, Mihai, Stan, Matt. It's really good to see you. Matt Prados. And Michael Gavet, it's also good to see you. Bill Cox. And we have other people still coming into the room. Let's see. So Matt's got me up to speed on where everything is at. And I'll just let him take over from here. I'll be answering questions, because now we're getting into the thick of it, if you will. Thanks for joining us, Matt. Appreciate it.
Cool. No worries. Thanks, Russ. Guys, can you give me a 1 if you can hear me clearly? Just want to do an audio check quick. Okay, awesome. Right, guys. So we've had a busy few weeks, and we've learned a lot of conceptual, top-level ideas of why we do what we do with our technical system that we built when we're actually building out the web rings. So if I just refresh our memory, we are over here at number 1, and we're actually building the money site. This is where we're going to start. Okay, so if we just roll back to the beginning of the course quickly, as we find that picture, it all basically started off with success through definition, where we looked at our product, what we're selling, we described it, we detailed what it was, we outlined the parameters of what's involved with selling it, we looked at who our market personalities were, we looked at the market life cycle, we discussed that, we looked at the market life cycle, as each market personality walks their way through the market life cycle, what other opportunities are given to us in that process. And then from there we jumped into the pains. What's the pains in the market? And we found a whole bunch of FAQs. We transformed them into SAQs, should ask questions, and we started creating a congruency between what the market wants and how we position our product when we come to sell it. Right. So then from there we jumped into the isolated spreadsheet, and we extracted our keywords, and you gave them to me, and then by the middle of this week we'd finished up most of the keywords that had been given to us, so you guys should have all gotten most of your keywords back. So with these keywords, this is where we can start looking at Kraken, and we can actually start looking at how we're going to build the business, where are the missed opportunities, who's our competitors, and start assessing, okay, what are we actually up against. Okay. So during this week, you're probably going to be going through Kraken, or when you got a chance to do it, and this is where we're going to start building our first silos. For the next 3 weeks, ideally we want to build a single silo with a minimum of 3 categories with the content per week. Okay. So can you guys give me a 1 if you guys are up to speed, i.e. you've got your keywords, you've gotten into Kraken, you've had a look around, you've drilled a few drills, or 2, you've not got there yet, and then 3, if you've not handed in your keywords, just so I can actually get a feel for where we're at. Okay. Bill, I finished drilling yours last night. You should be getting them probably tomorrow morning. We just got a few more to do.
Yeah, Matt's been drilling nonstop, and
yeah, I've drilled like 150 themes in the last 3 days.
Yeah, so I really appreciate you guys' patience. At the same time, Marina, why are you locked? Marina, I saw you in Marina. Our certified advisors are extremely important to us. You're supposed to be in the certified advisor Skype group if something happens. Okay, so you should contact me personally. And not that everybody else is less important. I just want to make sure that you should be in the certified advisor room, which also gives you the ability. There's a certain person in there who's watching very closely to make sure that you're not locked out of everything. Now, any of you guys, if you are locked out, you've got an issue for this. Go ahead and for that type of thing, you can ping one of us personally, because there's no way. Yeah, because there's no way for you guys to get your work done. Marina, thanks for being so courteous, but in that case, girl, you got to just let you in there, okay? Just contact me right after this thing, and we'll get you all sorted.
Okay, cool. Charles, your keywords have been drilled as well, so you should have those ones with you. Okay, so now that we've got these keywords, what are we going to actually do with these keywords? So let me just hop into Kraken quickly. Okay, so we just open this up in another window. And I'm just going to show you what we've got in Kraken and how we can use the tool to basically start finding our missed opportunities and start looking at what story we're going to start with first. Now, the reason why I call it the story was when we're working on our sites, we need to create themes. And if we start thinking about the themes and we start thinking about all the technical, typically what that does, it makes it very difficult. I just find in myself personally, it makes it very hard to map out the story. Okay, but when I translate the theme and what I'm selling into a story and a conversation, then the flow becomes much easier and the important keywords stand out to us. Okay, so I'm just going to jump in here quick and open up a theme so we can look at this. Okay. Right. So who's been into Kraken here? Can you guys give me a 1 just so I can check who's actually logged in and had a look at the keywords? Okay, only 1 person. Right, okay. No worries. What we're going to do here now is when I draw the themes out for you guys, you'll end up with a series of themes that we have over here. These are all the conversations or the top level topics that are active on the internet, and we can look at these themes and see how many important keywords they have. So example, wedding dresses is got 21 keywords and it's got the highest TSMV for that particular market. We can then see wedding venues pops up, highest TSMV. But we don't sell wedding dresses and we don't really cater and promote wedding venues. However, there's nothing stopping us contacting people that trade in these areas and try and get leads off them. Okay, so this is 2 opportunities we have where we can potentially build WR2 sites if we wanted to and drive more leads into our business. Okay, Mac Makeup. Here's a product. It's a product that we sell. We can look at that keyword and we can figure out where it belongs in our story. And then the next thing is hair color. This is what comes up with the most money. Okay, so this is the first one that's really directly related to the actual business. Okay, so what we do in Kraken is we identify these important themes. So hair color, that's telling us that hair color is an important word to the ladies. Okay, so if we drop into hair color, let's have a look and see what's going on. There's a keyword that's worth like $5 or $6 there. So what I usually do is I start off with my cost per click. I sort by that, and I see where the money is being spent in this actual market. And quite interestingly, the keyword that's got the most money on it is for hair loss. Okay, so that's something we don't really trade in. And then the next one is clipping hair extensions, which is a product we can sell. We've got access to getting these things, and we can see how much traffic there is. So there's hardly any searches, so it's not really worth our while. Okay. Remy hairs, hair extensions, Indian hairs, hair extensions, Virgin hairs, hair extensions. So where the most money is being spent in the top 5 pieces, this is all for hair extensions. And that tells us an important story. Okay, so when we look at the hair salon, we can see that the people are spending a lot of money selling hair extensions. And there's a lot of money selling products that deal with hair loss. Okay. So this is good information for the actual business. If we start by the searches and we see, okay, where do the searches actually flow and what's important for the market personality in the hair color industry, then hairstyles, Brazilian hair, hair extensions, Peruvian hair, Rootis hair, haircuts, hair salon, Indian hair. Okay, so there's our hair salon that comes in over there. So hairstyles is an important keyword we want to actually get ranked for. This is one that carries a lot of traffic. It's actually got the most traffic in relation to the actual specific product business type. Okay, so can you guys see how I'm actually looking at the keywords in Kraken, and I'm starting to understand what words have meaning to the market personalities and what context is that actual meaning. Can you guys give me a 1 if you're clear on that? Do you guys have any questions at this stage before I hop across to DWS and we start mapping out stuff in the actual application and I explain to you why we built certain parts of the actual tool? Do you guys have any questions at this stage with regards to the market-related keywords we brought back from the Crack and Draw? Okay, so Aru's saying basically he's not clear on how to choose which terms are attractive to you.
Okay.
Right, guys,
sorry,
Russ?
Sorry, you can, were you going to get into it? That's okay.
No, you can say what you want to say there, it's fine. I'll carry on after.
The challenge, that question usually comes when you're not sure what you're selling, Ru, or what your product monetization and or service is on your site. Is that true that you don't know what you're selling yet and you haven't determined what product is and you're still mining for a product to sell, or am I incorrect about that? Yeah, it's obvious that it's true, Ru, because you would know. Like, for instance, if you know, this is why we start with what the heck you're selling, which is why we gave you that document. And which is why we also emphasize that generally speaking, we're not a business opportunity. Part of that's because not that you can't use it. We have data miners from all over the world that use our filters and TLKT for niche mining to determine what it is that they want to sell and what affiliate programs to take. But it's not our general standard. So the best way, if you don't have an axiom, which means a core, means a purpose or an intent, it is a little bit more difficult to determine what it is, because then you're really talking about competitive analysis. Well, the stats that you're looking at won't tell you. There's no stat in here that jumps out and says sell this. There are some stats like that in domain of DWS, actually, on the import function. There are some things that say this is an educational term, and it doesn't exactly come out and say you would be stupid if you don't promote this, but it gets pretty close on some of those filters. Now, one of the things that you still got to say, you still got to know, is like, if you don't know what it is that you're trying to promote, if you're just trying to look for low-hanging fruit and then you plan on finding a product later, things don't actually really work that well. That being said, you can look at these stats. Do you want us to go through what these? You want Matt to go through what these stats actually are, or Matt and I to go through what these each column actually is, Ru?
Yeah, I wanted to do that.
Okay, go for it. Okay, go for it.
Yeah. Right, guys, for the guys who've got products and know what they're selling, typically when I look at these screens, the way I translate the information so it starts making business sense is I always think about, I look at the words through the market personality's eyes. This is such an important thing. And when we look at the cost per click column, this is where we can actually start seeing how much money is the businesses actually spending and what are they spending the money on. Okay, that's what that column tells us. It gives us an indication of how much are they prepared to pay to get a lead or a sell. Okay, so on the cost per click column, we could see that hair loss, there's a lot of money getting spent on guys balding. And there's a lot of pain associated with people. Some people just don't care. Some men don't care if they go bald. It just is what it is. But other men have actually major vanity issues with it when their hair falls out. It creates insecurities and all kinds of other things, especially if they're young. On the searches, this is more from the market's perspective. What is the market looking for? What shows them interest? Okay, so when we look at the high searches, like hairstyles, people are looking for different expressions that they can relate to themselves in that specific column. When we look at the co-occurrence, if you imagine a big round pond, right, and the seed keyword being hair color, if I took that rock, which was the hair color, and I threw it in the middle of the pond, as that hit the center of the pond and the ripples ran out to the edge, the co-occurrence gives us the distance from the seed. It gives us an indicator of how closely related the actual keyword is to the seed keyword. So if we sort it by co-occurrence, you'll see that hair color would flow to the top, and then the most closely related terms will follow. So hair color goes with haircuts, hair color goes with hair loss, virgin hair, hair salon. So you can quickly see on the co-occurrence how close or far the word actually is. So from hair color, Brazilian hair is very far. If you've got the bottom of this, Roots hair, Bio hair, hair conditioners, they're very far away. They're related, but they're not in the close proximity. Okay. Competing pages, these are all phrase match, and we can look at these competing pages And we can see, okay, which conversations have got the most content surrounding them. So when we look at hair salon, it's obvious that hair salon will have the most competing pages because that's the actual business. That's the thing that gives these people what they want. Okay. Hair care is the next thing. So the hair care is the next big topic that comes along when we're actually looking at hair color, hair cares. How do they look after their hair? What colors do they use? What's best? Do they put coconut oil in their hair? All these kind of things. Okay. Next is hair extensions. So it's very interesting how the color and the extensions keep on popping up when it comes towards the hair color thing. Excuse me. So competing pages, you can use the phrase match to indicate to yourself the size of the actual market or the conversation or the topic. Okay. When we go to the YouTube videos, this is a very, very important feature that's actually new in Kraken. And you can see that hairstyles, that topic has got over 1.6 million videos all tagged with hairstyles. Then it's haircuts, then it's hair care, then it's hair care, then it's hair extensions. So once again, we're starting to see a pattern forming. Then when we look at the TSMV, this is potentially how much money is going to get spent in that specific theme through a yearly period. So the most money gets spent in hairstyles. Okay, that's where the money flows in this market. Hair extensions is the next one. Brazilian's part of hair extensions, then it's haircuts, then it's Peruvian hair, which probably falls into Peruvian and Indian hair. So hair color is particularly dominated, from looking at this spreadsheet here, by the hair extensions market. Okay, did that clearly explain to you guys how we look at the screen and how we can start seeing how important this keyword is to our business? Can you guys give me a 1 if you're clear on that? Or if you've got any questions, let's just chat about that now, because this is a very important part. The hardest thing is to forget about keywords. We're not looking for keywords, we're looking for understanding in the actual market, and we're looking to understand how our market personalities use language to find what they're looking for. And this is what we're essentially doing when we're doing the market analysis. Okay. So the next thing I want to look at here is, if I'm going to go for hair color, and it's going to be a topic, I jump to my white paper, this is the next thing I look at. And now I can start seeing, okay, how strong is this market? So the guy in position number 1 is a DA of 23, that's his domain age, okay? Sorry, his domain authority. It's been around for a long, long time, since 2006. It's got 1,200 pages indexed, you can see that over there. But the pages that are ranking have page authority of 16 and 15. So do you guys think that we could push him off this page? Let's give a 1 or a 2 with those type of stats. And 2 if it's too difficult. Pat, you got a question mark next to your 1. Do you want to ask a question there if you're not sure about anything? Okay. Yeah, this is very easy to knock these guys off. That's the answer. If we look at position number 2, L'Oreal Vicosa, 19s, page authority of 17s. So hair color is standing wide open. There's a lot of opportunity over here for us in this actual market. Okay, so as we look through this data and we start processing the domain authority and we start looking at all these things, we can start seeing, okay, who dominates this market? And we can see that natural colors, this is one of the competitors. Let's see what these guys are actually selling and what they rank for in number 1. If we take this web page and we actually open it up, let's see what we're up against. Now, when I look at this, I look at the websites, I try and see what they're selling, I pay attention to their headlines, and I also pay attention to how their page is laid out. What is the style, what are the colors? I look at the whole story, okay? Because when we start doing a competitive market analysis and we start looking at individual competitors, we can really start breaking down and seeing what these guys are doing. So this is just an e-commerce store that's selling all types of hair. Okay, so let's see what they got here. Permanent hair color, semi-permanent hair color, hair care, makeup, beauty care, lip care, mind care, outdoor care, babies. So these guys are in the care market. They're targeting everything that's care related. You can see it by what they're doing here. And it can also show you missed opportunities So when your shop starts buying products to sell online, you can start getting an idea of what these people are selling. And by the time we look at all the competitors across the market, we'll have a good feel. But the question now is, are these guys directly competing with us? Is this actually a competitor or not? If you can give me one or two if you think they're directly related to the project we're working on, or if they're just a competitor that's sort of crossing over our path. Okay, excellent. Everyone's saying two. Right, Pat, your question, unclear on what PA is. PA is page authority, and DA is domain authority. And if you had to take the 100 and basically divide it by 4, just break it up into 4 segments, anything that's less than 25 is fairly easy on a domain authority level, and the same applies to the page authority. Anything between 25 and 50 starts getting difficult. Well, medium to difficult. You have to start really paying attention to what you're targeting. Anything from 50 to 75 is hard, and then 75 plus, think very carefully. So typically when the domain authority is over 50s, I pay attention to that and I look at them, okay, there's a bit of work involved here, and we're going to have to basically come up with some other strategies to strengthen and give our site more authority. Does that clarify that for you, Pat? Can you give me a 1 if you're clear on that? Okay, so as we keep on working through this, guys, essentially what we're doing is we're going to keep on popping along and understanding who's ranking for what and whether that vertical is something we want to enter into. Because remember, every single page you add to your silo as a silo or a category or supporting article, essentially that page on your W1 is a landing page that you want to convert that person on a specific product or a specific service. Okay, so there's no point building a site with 1,000 pages at the W1 level. It's no point in doing that. If you've got an e-commerce store and you've got 1,000 products, that's a different story. But if you're a business and you've got particular services and things, you don't need to build a huge website. Okay, you focus on what's most important to your market that you're working in. Okay, so let's just jump on. Next one, L'Oreal. 1 or 2 if they're competitors. 1, yes, they're competitor, or 2, no. Okay, let's just quickly run through this list fast. Okay, so second one, that's not related. Whatever that is there. Let's have a look at this one here. And what I usually do here, guys, is I only look at the top 3. I don't care for the guys that are below the 3rd. It's only the top 3 that I'm interested in because that's where the traffic flows. If you're in position 4 and 5, you're only scratching the tip of the traffic stream. You're not even getting into it. Okay, Dischem, this is a pharmaceutical company. Okay, so this is essentially not really a keyword that we're interested in. Okay, so just by looking at the top 3, I've quickly realized that the hair care is something that we do sell it in the hair salon, but it's not something I want to get ranked for. Okay, that's just how I look at it from this perspective. So let's jump back to another theme. What I do understand from hair care, though, is hair care is closely related to hair extensions. But funny enough, no one was really selling the hair extensions that were ranking for that page. So I'm going to basically look for wedding dresses. We don't want that. Weddings, it's too broad. I used it as a silo theme. I use it as a vertical. So if I drop into weddings, let's just see what's important when people just search on weddings. Okay. So if we look at where the searches are, okay, wedding venues, the wedding ceremony, wedding dress, wedding venue, wedding dresses. So under wedding dresses and wedding venues are sitting sort of at the top. Wedding dresses being number 1 for the searches. Then there's cakes, rings, decor, venues, photography, planning gown. Okay, so under wedding, our keywords and our services don't even actually appear. So this is sitting really, really high up the vertical. Okay, so let's go back. Where are we? So I'm dropping to hair salon. We've got 19 keywords. There's 43 Rand being spent. That's about $4 or $5. Okay, I'm going to sort by searches. So hair salon, hairstyles, Brazilian hair extensions, hairstyles, hairdresser, hairdressing, hair removal, Remy hair, okay. Hair and beauty salon. Hairstyles is the most important conversation or keyword that we need to target in this actual hair salon industry. So that's what we have to focus on, and we have to think about in the hair silo, we have to come up with how we can get ranked for hairstyles. And we have to think, okay, what do we do? What's the campaign going to be? What's the theme going to be when we build out the hair silo? Okay. So what I typically do at that stage then is I think about the business and I think about the product and service that they're offering. So when we look at Sassy, and we look at the hair silo, basically what we ended up focusing on was wedding hair, hair salon, and hair care. Okay, those are the three keywords we targeted first. And those fitted closely to what we're targeting with our audience. Okay, so when we come to choose our keywords for the silo architecture and we start building out our site in DWS, the process I go through Kraken is I'm constantly jumping through a questionnaire in my mind where if I thought of a triangle, at the top of the triangle I have the market personality looking forward toward my business. When the market personality looks at the screen, they're looking at this business, but what they're really looking for is an answer to the solution. So how do we present the best case to this person to give them what they want? Anyone type some ideas of what they think? What would we want to do? I've told you guys a few times how we should go about doing this. Just want to make sure you guys are paying attention. When you look at this page, right, what are you seeing when you actually visually look at this page? What's on the page the most? What elements are sucking your eyes and what's attracting you? Pictures, exactly. In Kraken, what was the important keyword? Exactly. Right. So how do we improve the time on site and how do we best demonstrate what it is that we do? Is we give the people what they're looking for. We don't necessarily have to write a long article about hairstyles, but we can actually showcase hairstyles throughout the whole page. So when you look at this page, you're seeing glamorous people, you're seeing celebrities, you're seeing hairstyles, you're seeing the services, you're seeing things that are interesting, like the Brazilian blow, Brazilian hair, the styling, treatments. All these important words are on the actual page, but what's more important is the people can actually click in and they can look. So when you look at our heat tracking and then moving through all our images that are within our site, these are all people that Sarah's worked on. Some of them are fake ones, but most of the people that we got here are people that have actually worked on. Okay, and over here I've experienced the new hair experience by Sassy. How can I be looking for a change, a new look, a new hairdresser, we just want to spoil stuff and get to come to Sassy, you won't regret it. So yeah, I'm also, is your hair dull, boring, and just not doing it for you? Call Sassy today. So I'm constantly pressing on the actual button, we can throw that one away, which has the most search, hairstyles. Am I ranking for hairstyles? We're slowly climbing up the rankings, but from the market personality's point of view, we're speaking directly to what they want. We're showing them. So if we drop into the wedding hair silo, what do we see again? We see proof. Okay. So what are you selling? How do I get it? Why should I believe you? And how much does it cost? That's the ideas. Russ, do you want to just talk about that a little bit of how people think? You're really good at explaining that whole concept. I don't think Russ is there. Okay, no worries. So what I've done here, guys, is I keep on using Kraken's information.
I'm here, Matt. Just repeat the question. I was on mute. Yeah.
Do you know that guy? I can't remember his name. Who? It's a great analogy. Is where he says, "Okay, what are you selling? Why should I believe you? How do I get it, and how much does it cost?" Who does that?
Yeah.
Who wrote that?
This is the Irresistible Offer.
Yes,
and
that's right.
Use this as part of our. That's Mark Joyner. Everybody familiar with Mark Joyner? That's a pretty good mechanism to realize, when you have a really small amount of space, like to create a banner or on the subway, on those little sliders, or even a billboard, what are you selling? How much does it cost? What's in it for me? And why should I believe you? Are the primary questions that need to be answered in a short amount of space. So again, back to look, all of you are in a different place, like Ru's talking about. Ru's still trying to determine what he's selling, which is great. You got to find it out somewhere, but actually you can walk backwards with that. If you don't have a product yet, when you look to find a product, Ru, you can still ask yourself, what you would ask when you were buying it before you take on a product. So you're actually in a great position if you don't know what you're selling yet. But what are you selling? How much does it cost? What's in it for me? And why should I believe you? That's not just about the product, but it's also about creating the offer. And those types of things are easier when you know what you're selling. But more importantly, they're easier when the product sells itself. So those are things to consider.
Exactly, that's what I wanted to say. Your product sells yourself. So in a hair salon, what product are the people selling in the hair salon? If we really look at it, they're selling expressions, they're selling confidence, they're selling beauty, they're selling loveliness, happiness. And when we look at these pictures, all the pictures taken from all the weddings that the girls have worked on, all the imagery basically pre-sells these moments that you're capturing. And what I found very interesting is that a lot of people are spending time actually looking at these photos on the actual site. Okay, so when I come back to Kraken, this is how typically when I look at the Kraken, I look at it, what are the important words and how can I utilize that component in the actual page I want to build. Okay, now that I know that hairstyles has the most searches, it's not necessarily going to be a keyword I'm going to rank for, okay, but I will utilize that information that I've extracted from this data to incorporate what people are looking for into the actual design of the site. So it's whether we add elements, whether we add video, whatever media types we put in, it must speak to what people want when they actually do searches. Does that sort of help you guys see how I start using the keywords to start conceptualizing and building elements into the actual site? Okay, so that's just the tip of the iceberg. All we've done now is we've looked at a few keywords and we started to understand what people want. So hair salon, people describe hair salons as hairdressers, hairdresser, hairdressing. Okay, these are important words. So when we look at the competitive analysis, I just want to see who am I actually up against, who owns hair salon in the actual country. And now I'm looking at it from a national perspective. Okay, so from the national perspective, we can get some indicators of how much traffic is flowing on a national level, and then basically if there's enough there, we'll get a smaller section when we get down to the actual locale we're working in. Okay, so this is a company. They're based about 1,000 kilometers away from us, so they're not really competitors. You can see that they're in Pretoria. It's near the capital. It's quite far from us. Can you guys hear me? Can you give me a 1 if you can hear me? So I'm going to do an audio check. Okay.
No, cool. I think most people are good, Matt.
Okay, cool. Okay, that site's taking too long to load. Let's look at the next one. Can hair. So what I'm doing is now I found a theme where we're actually competing against hair salons. What we're going to do here now is we're going to see, okay, what do their sites look like? How do they present their sites? And if they're at the national level, they must be converting. So what elements can we take from the site and what can we utilize? What call to actions? What can we grab that will make our sites better and give us the knowledge we need? Okay. Now we're not necessarily saying that these guys' stuff might be good. We might enter into a theme that everyone's stuff sucks. But you've got to do yourself the favor and actually still have a look. So while that's loading up, I'm just going to go back to this and I want to also pull in that there. Okay, so this is loaded up. This is taking forever. What's going on here? Oh, there we go. And I'm going to pull DWS in over here. This is straight over there. Okay, so came here. About us, treatments, products, cancel. Very simple site, black and white. Nothing really much. Domain authority of 8. That's ridiculous. A blog post will outrank them. Page authority of 23. That's quite interesting that they pumped that hair salon up. Yeah, so guys, when you see a domain authority that's low but a page authority that's high, it means that they've done some kind of SEO effort on that actual page to get ranked for that specific type of keyword. Okay, so this is how we can see if there is a bit of SEO involved. If there was no SEO, it would be low. Okay, just scroll down here. Yeah, all these websites have done some other bit of SEO to get themselves ranked. You can see it by the page authority trumping the domain authority. But on general, everything's under 25. So this market's pretty easy in South Africa to get done, and these guys are the strongest that are up in the capital. But none of our competitors really are here that we are competing with. Okay, so now that means that we're dealing with the guys on a local level, which makes it actually quite easier to actually outrank them. Okay, so that's why Stasi ranks so easily, just purely with the silo architecture. Okay, so I'm just going to pull up Screaming Frog quickly. I want to show you guys something here. Because I want to explain the internal linking structure to you guys, just so you can get an idea of what's actually going on with the internal links when we build our silo architecture. Okay. So I don't want to download it now. File. Get that one open. And I want to come across to internal links. Okay, so if we look at, this is pick one here, we're looking at, this is how we're looking at the wedding silo. In the wedding silo, we have 26 internal links. Okay, these links are created purely by the silo architecture, by the design of the actual site. And if we jump up to the wedding silo, so you can see I've started off with wedding, and what I've done with the silo is I've actually brought the silo down. I've dropped it down to wedding hair. I changed the keyword here to wedding hair. So we have wedding in the URL, but the anchor text is wedding hair, just to refine the silo a bit more. But essentially what we got here, the internal links is all these links and the internal links on this page, plus the links on the image. These are the things that create our internal linking structure. Now, if we had to compare our internal linking structure in comparison to our competitors that we're directly competing with, you'll probably find that the internal links here are much more than what theirs is. Okay. And we can also look at the average content type. So you can see the content's it's all under 500. So we've got like the main page has got 500, but most of the content's not that much, but we still are ranking on most of the keywords. Okay. So who's clear on the internal linking? Can you guys give me a one? A question I want to ask. Can you give me a 1 if you understand how the internal linking works in an actual silo? Okay, cool. So guys, when you think about the internal linking, you think about the story, what you want to build. When you're mapping out your keywords in DWS, and I'm just going to jump across to the Stasi site, you can look at the design my site. What I do, the reason why I built DWS was for two things. One, I wanted a way to basically be able to bring all the business metrics that I need to pay attention to into the system. Number two, I wanted to crunch the data with the next layer. And number three, I wanted to be able to map out the actual architecture and very quickly see what's going on when we move it across into an actual site. So when Sue and I sat and worked on this, we spent quite a lot of time really thinking through how we can do this so we can efficiently see what we want. So on DWS, can you guys give me a 1 if you've used the tool, or 2 if you've not used the tool yet? just so I can get a gauge of how the audience is with it. Okay, so most of you guys haven't seen this. Okay, so this is the DWS, this is the light version. In the Pro version, it's a bit more advanced and there's a lot more bells and whistles in it. But this version comes with your any membership, and I'm going to take you from the beginning. We're just going to start and we'll actually build a site out, and I'll show you how simple and easy this is. Okay, that's probably going to be the best way to do this. Right, so if you want to create a new site, wait, let me do something quickly here. I just need some data. Where's it? I'm just going to get some keywords, and I'm going to build up a site for us very quickly, and I'll talk you through the process. So what can we do? Hey, extensions, let's have a look at this. Yeah, there we go. I was going to create a project that's going to call this Hey Extensions. Hey Extensions, sell products online. We create our empire. And essentially what this does, it creates the container for our whole project. We're then going to add a site. Now, when you guys build your sites, before you start, have a good think on what your primary keyword is, okay, and I'm going to fill this in, Hey Extensions, and think about what your index page is actually going to target. And the reason why I say this is when you think about your domain and you think about your primary keyword, if the primary keyword is really important, you need to have a domain name. So if you're talking about Hey Extensions, you don't want to have Hair Extensions in the domain. Have something like Beautiful Hair, or make up a random name that doesn't contain the core ideas. So that Hair Extension, that filter I sent you guys will help you getting the pure and pure diverse things. So let's just say we're targeting Hair Extensions. That's our primary keyword, okay? And we're going to call the project let's just say be pretty, be what? Just hairstyles, new hairstyles, newhair.com. Make up something like that, okay? Keep that the same. Now what we have here is the site profile, then we've got the search engines retargeting. Now what we've done here for the guys that are outside of the US, right? If you're in the US dollar, you can essentially fill in the currency conversion, and if, like in South Africa, the exchange rate's 11:1, that's the ratio. So for every $1 that you pay, you get paid basically like 11 South African rands. I could put 11 in there, and that would change all the numbers and give us the correct type of market-related values when we build our business rules. Okay, the silo settings, typically I just leave them as they are. The defaults, they tend to be fine. They're segmented. We don't have to fiddle with those too much. But if you're in a market that's huge, you can tweak these and change them around. Okay, that's an advanced feature there. Our backlink costs. When we think about backlinks, we think about promotional content. It's the content that's going to run out of our blog. It's going to hit our one feed. It's then going to go to our social profiles, and it's going to go out across the web. What is the cost to create that content? So if we just make that 15 or whatever we're going to pay for it. Then content, your premium content that's going to be in your site, the sales copy, all that kind of stuff. What are you going to pay per page for that kind of stuff? Okay, so typically that's going to be more expensive, so I'll just flip those two around. Okay. Now we come to an important part in DWS, and we actually start looking at the conversion rules. And what we're dealing with here is all the hops that happen from Google to your landing page to taking an action on your site, okay? Or from Google to your landing page, then redirecting them through affiliate offers, okay? So in this case for SASE, we don't have affiliate stuff, so we leave the third one, the sales conversion part here, we leave it at 100 just to make it balance itself out. But typically what I do here is I tone these things down. I basically take it down to 20%. Okay. I leave the site conversion at 1%, because remember guys, we're doing modeling here, we're forecasting, we're delta sculpting, and we're trying to understand, okay, in order to enter into this market, what are the flags in the ground that we need to meet? What are the KPIs, the key performance indicators that we need to meet to actually compete? And that's where we're looking at the click-through conversions from Google. We're looking at our on-page conversions. We're looking at if we are generating leads and it's going to the back office, there's another conversion that has to happen over there. So in this instance over here at the third stage, if you're generating leads for a business and the salespeople in the actual office have to phone the people back, you're going to get another drop-off, another percentage taken off in the filters. So typically the way I look at that is we ask the sales consultants, what is your average sales out of 10 sales if on all the calls that you're getting per day? And they'll probably give you like a 5, a 7, a 3. We can actually all see that. And we fill it in, put the percentage in, and it does it. Next we have our opt-in list for our lists. Okay. So typically as your opt-in list, you can basically just make that 1%, just to start off with. And then what is the expected list conversion ratio? Example, 10%. So if 1% of the people that hit our site actually proceed to get on our list, what are the chances that those people will actually buy something from our autoresponder? And we can put that in. If you don't know, just make it 1 as well, okay? But I'm just going to put that up a little bit more just to so you can see the difference in DWS. Now, if we're selling hair extensions, what is the profit we're going to make per sale for those actual hair extensions? So if we're buying them for $50 or $100, how much are we going to make? So I'm just going to leave it at 100 as a profit. My budget, how much money am I prepared to invest into building the site out? This is the important part. Okay, so if you put 5,000 in there, that's fine. Then what do we actually want to achieve a month? Okay, this is where you start thinking, what would your goal be for the site in the short term to earn? Is it $100, $500, $1,000, $10,000? What do you want to achieve? Okay, so this is say we want to make $5,000 a month out of this website. What this does is it takes the traffic and it converts these over here, and it tells us that in order to make our 5,000 goal, we have to have 50 sales a month. Okay, and in order to get the sales, we need to drive 100 people off our 1% conversion rate to achieve those 50 sales, which means we need 5,000 unique visitors to our website every single month to meet those goals. Now the big question is this: can this market actually give us that amount of traffic? Can we extract those amounts of conversions out of the market? That is the actual big question. So when we press submit, it creates our profile for our site, and now we can let's come along and import our keyword data. So before I start doing this, what I want to ask you guys is, are you guys clear on the business rules? Or do you have any questions there at this point in time? Let's see what's coming up here. Okay, so do you understand why we put the business rules in, guys? I just want to make sure that you're 100% clear on that, because when I import this keyword data from Kraken now, let's just get this here. Let's just go clip in and I'll grab that one. I'm going to import that. I'm just going to grab 3 files, okay? So we're taking clip-in hair, premium hair extensions, okay, so here's the clip-in hair. Now remember we said our primary keywords hair extensions. This is the index page of the actual site. That's your home page, and it's going to be hair extensions. So it's domain.com, and the theme for the landing page is going to be hair extensions. Okay, this block here is called the silo framework, and this is where we can rapidly map out the story we want to tell and build the site. Now when we look at the screen, this is our process, right? We create our empire, we import our keywords. Now we're on Design My Site. This screen is the Design My Site screen. Once our site's designed, we mark it for publishing, which is super easy. Step 4 is build your WordPress site. This is a page with instructions guiding you on how to set your WordPress site up. And then number 5 is export your blueprint. And this is an XML blueprint that you generate that we can then go into DWS, you can import it and build it. So it's basically 10 minutes before the hour. So let's build a Hey Extensions website. So let's look at how we can go about doing this. In order to build the website, guys, what we got to do here is simply click on the index page, because if you think of the hierarchy of the actual data set, the index page sits at the top, then one node down is our silos. Our silos are siblings of the index page. When we click on our silo, we can import categories underneath that silo. So everything gets dropped underneath whatever node we click on at this stage. And when we click on a node, we will see it over here. Okay. Can you guys give me number 1 if you're clear on how to select a parent keyword to drop keywords underneath? Bill's got a question here with regards to Kraken. Do you delete the keywords from Kraken that weren't relevant before exporting to Kraken file? Bill, I don't actually delete them. The reason why I don't delete them is I want to keep them in case they missed opportunities. So what I do is I actually select a green flag next to the keyword. So we can turn the flag on and we can turn it off. And I can see the correlation of the keywords I'm interested in. Now in Kraken, if we go to build a blueprint in Kraken, the green keywords will actually move forward into the blueprint. Ruth's asking, is DWS a planning tool? Yeah, DWS is a tool that we use to rapidly build out our site blueprints. So if we want to test the market, we can go into DWS, we can quickly map out a silo architecture, we can export it out, use the video silo plugin and import the blueprint on our test site, and we can get content and we can get to see what the site might look like. So it helps us build the site really, really fast. You'll actually see now, I was going to show you guys how quick we can actually build a site. Okay, so what I'm going to do here now, guys, is we've got a filter system over here, and we can filter by wildcard, so we can put in a keyword here. So if I just typed in hair, it'll bring me anything with hair in it back. We can filter by competing pages range, or we can filter by silos, categories, and supporting articles. And we can do it by actual cost. So if you're on a budget, you can filter, give me all the keywords less than $5,000. Or whatever you want to do there. You press submit and data set floats up. Now this grid is a very important grid. What we have here is a keyword quality score. So when we look at hairstyles, right, it's flagged as a supporting article purely because of the low competing pages, right? So the system, based on rules, has identified this as being a supporting article purely because of its size. If it's got an S, it's a silo. You can hover over it and you can actually see it. So here you can see we've got 1 million competing pages. Okay. We can see the search volume per month. We can see the conversions. How many conversions can this actual theme potentially make us a month? There's 35 conversions. What's the time to rank for that keyword? Roughly 2 months. How many suggested backlinks would we need to this actual page for hairstyles? We need at least 17. If we were going to build this theme out, how much content should we build and write on the actual site? So this SSA, the suggested supporting articles, gives us a number of 8. So if we're doing a site on hairstyles, we should have 8 pages in our site structure that discuss that topic. Can you guys give me a 1 if you're clear on those column headers so far? Okay. So when we look at the keyword grid over here, we're still looking at themes. We're looking at conversations, we're looking at topics. And within a topic, there's multiple words, okay? And those multiple words build up the story. So hairstyles is a smaller story to tell than hair extensions, because hair extensions is a larger market, okay? Does that make it clear to you what these columns mean over here? Okay. Now, when we look at the cost is derived from creating this page plus the 8 suggested articles. Okay, so it takes out basically our cost and it multiplies it out. and it tells us how much we have to basically do there. If we rank for the keyword, we can make X amount of money. So what's interesting about this, when we look at this grid with those conversions that we have, most of the keywords are not going to make us money up front. However, within a year, if we hover over there, that keyword's worth $41,000 to the actual business if we rank for hairstyles based on our business rules. Okay. Now to see if the rules qualify, simply look at the right hand side here and you see the green flags. That all works. If we click on show all, let's see if we've got any that have failed. Okay, so over here we can see that maintenance is a keyword that's failed. It's huge, it's above what our budget is, and there's no profit. The keyword's failed. And if we look here at the keyword quality score, that little chart that we have over here takes us down into DWS and actually looks under the hood. Now what happens with this grid is every time you reload the screen, every single keyword on that actual screen gets evaluated and is checked by 17 checks. There's 17 checks that actually happen to test the keyword to see if it actually meets our business rules. Okay, so we'll check them now. So this is the keyword that failed. The keyword is called maintenance. The way this works is we've got the traffic to profit funnel and it's color coded. So each color represents the sections being checked. So what we do is we look at the click-through conversions, we look at the on-page conversions, we look at the backlink and content development costs, we look at the income potential, then we look at income versus expenses, and we finally check, is it going to be a profitable keyword or not? And it shows us at the bottom here we have a 58% chance that this keyword is basically going to be able to make us some profit. Okay, so this is not a good keyword for us to actually pay attention to. If we go back, and we look at a keyword like hairstyles, we can see that it's got enough traffic. We can see that we get roughly 4,000 visitors to the site. What is our target that we needed? 5,000 visitors, right? Remember up front we said we needed 5,000 visitors to come through. Roughly this keyword will help us get 5,000 visitors, so it brings us closer to our goal for the actual website. If they land on our web page, we probably get 176 conversions. Okay. If we build on our list, we can get potentially 44 people into our list based on our settings. We can see our backlinking costs. We can see the content development cost, the total costs, the income potential all the way through, and then finally we can look at the income versus expenses, and we can see the quality score. This is a good keyword to target. Okay, so do you guys give me one if you quickly understand the basic concepts of this keyword grid? This is a very, very powerful screen because what it does is it takes all that awesome data we got from Kraken, it merges it with all our business rules, creates a mashup, and the best keywords float to the top. Okay. So check this out. Now I'm going to show you how to map out your site really quickly. Now we've been on the call for 1 hour, okay? So it's 9 o'clock now, my time. I'm going to quickly just build a quick hair extension site and show you what we're going to do. So the first thing I want to do is we have hair extensions as the domain. So I want to go back and change that. Okay, so the way I can go to that is just go back because I want to make a silo hair extensions. I want to make my first silo hair extensions. That's what I'm after there. Come on. Okay, Marina's asking, why is hairstyle a supporting article and not a silo with a score of 100%? Marina, when we look at the score, we're looking at the quality of the actual keyword. We're not paying attention to the actual size of the vertical that it belongs in. Okay, so if you think about the vertical market, hairstyles will be lower down the vertical because of the competing pages. It's only 123,000 keywords. However, hair extensions is 1 million. So typically, you want to set up your silo structure so that you can basically, I just want to go in here, I want to update that quickly. You want to set up your silo so that the bigger keywords are sitting at the top. So example, at the top of the vertical, and say I see hair, wedding, and makeup are the top verticals. Then we drop down the vertical market and we get into the actual services or products the person offers. So we're looking at wedding hair and makeup, bridal hair, all those kind of keywords would be important, and they would fall under the silos that we set up. That SA, the reason why I'm suggesting it is it's basically on our rules. We're saying if the keyword is greater than 1 million, phrase match, flag it as a silo. If it's smaller than 1 million, okay, and it's greater than 350,000, flag it as a category. Anything smaller than 350,000 phrase match becomes a supporting article. And essentially what that does is when we set up our site, we're taking a big chunk of data that we got from Kraken and we're chopping it up into 3 blocks. We're segmenting the data up into 3 sections so we can actually look at it a bit more realistically. And I'll show you how we do it now. I just want to just quickly change the hair extensions. I want to get the hair and extensions out there, and I want to do, what can I call it? Extensions. I'm going to call it index page for now. Okay. Just so we can see what's what. That's the top level homepage. We need to decide what we're going to call that. Okay, so I'm going to go to my site. I'm going to design a site. The reason why I just put index page in there is because I'm not sure what the theme is going to be for the homepage yet. However, I want to, Bill says hair accessories. That's a good idea there. However, I've just left that there. I'm going to select index page. And now I'm going to map out the site. So I clicked on index page is shown, and I come to my silos, and I want to see just the silo keywords I have available. Now remember, we've only imported in, this is the data sets you guys are going to get back from me. The underscore data, just forget about that. Don't worry about that one. That's just where I test things. The blueprint is if you go to Kraken and you generate a blueprint, all the keywords you export out of the Kraken blueprint, you can stick there. If there's competitor information you want to save, you can put it in there. And if you discover any keywords, you can stick it in there. These 3 files are for you guys to expand on what we've done for you already. Now over here, these are the primary keywords we drilled into. They'll be in the root. Then in the interesting keywords, these are the keywords we found that are interesting and related to this theme. And all we've imported in is clipping hair extensions. We pulled in the first one. We still have all the others we can pull in. Now, when we import keywords into DWS, first come in is the first one to stick. It doesn't bring in duplicates. And the reason why it doesn't bring in duplicates is because if we have a keyword and we move it from the grid to the framework, that keyword will always be unique within the actual framework. There will never be a duplicate of this. Okay, so everything gets connected to that actual keyword. Okay. Now, when we use the keyword as a supporting article, we add as a synonym, a primary synonym, or a primary supporting term, the keyword will still stay here because we can use the term in multiple places. Is that clear to you guys? Do you understand that so far? Just on how the import works and all that kind of thing. Just give me a 1, because then I'll build the site out pretty quickly. Right, so on this data set that I have here, I've selected index page, and we've got hair extensions, maintenance, hair, training, Indian, shopping, magazine, extensions, clips, business, Brazilian hair. Okay, and a lot of them are failing, so I'm going to turn that off. I'm sticking hair extensions. Actually, I'm sticking hair for now. I'm going to move that to blueprint. So I checked the box. I click move to blueprint, and you'll see it will appear over here. Okay, so there's my hair silo. I'm going to click on hair. While I'm doing that, I actually want to import a few more keywords. So I'm going to click on the import keyword data, just to give me a bit more keywords. So it's 9:05 now at the moment, and my goal is by 9:15, I want to have my silo mapped out just so we can see. So I'm going to go Kraken Voma, that's where I got the keywords from. I'm going to browse to the file. I'm going to grab that one and I'm going to import it. I click on import again. Browse, that one there, open Kraken Voma, import. So you can see the tools seamlessly just talk to each other. It's pretty easy, and you can control the data sets that you bring in when you bring them in. Okay, so I'm going to reset that, and then I want to grab the interesting keywords, a few of those. Okay, so let's import here. Kraken Voma, browse, interesting keywords. Let's look at Brazilian. I actually want broader stuff. Human hair extensions. Yeah. What I've done there is I sorted by size. The bigger the file size, the more keywords you have. So I'm going to start pulling them in from that perspective, just to give myself some variety. Now, this data set I've drilled into over here, we've got a lot of interesting themes that are highly related to the hair extensions things. So we've got hair pieces, hair removal, hair dresses, all those kind of keywords. Okay, so let's see what we got here. I think I need to change the business rules because things aren't looking too good. So let's just see what we have here. That's it. Our domain authority is lower. So when we start, we can say how many rows we want to see. The website compared to average page rank. What to do now, it's not page rank anymore, it's domain authority. And the scores 1 to 10, think of it as 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So if your range is roughly in the 20s like we saw, that's where our domain authority is. The higher and more competitive you put this in, the more work's required and the cost of the project increases. Okay, so I'm taking the cost down there just to get the modeling right. I think we're going to have to basically work on our call to actions to improve the stuff here. So I'm going to improve that a little bit there. And let's just see if I get 200 profit, what happens. Now when we play the business rules like this, it helps us look at the data set from different perspectives. Ru's asking what is VOMA? It's vertical online market analysis. That's what Kraken does. Kraken does a vertical online market analysis. It scans the whole market and it shows us who are we up against in this industry and where the traffic and all that kind of stuff flows. From that information, we then can take the vertical online market analysis results and we can come into DWS, we can map out our site really quickly. Okay, there we go. So I tweaked the conversion slightly and look how it's changed. There's a lot more stuff that's profitable. The money's starting to show. So this tells me straight away in this market, in order to make this work and to make profit, I need to get at least between 20 and 25% conversions either from Google or my on-page conversion rate has to increase from 1 to 2 or 3 and above. Okay, now what I'm going to do now, I've selected hair. And I want to just map out our site. So let's just look at all this, the silos. There's another thing we have to change in the business rules. Most of the keywords are under 500,000. Okay, so make the silos start from 500,000. Control C, Control V, and then take our supporting articles down to 100 because this market's not big, this data set that we're looking at, and that's why our silos and categories are looking much less than what they are. So if we filter by silos now, I thought I pressed that. Okay, here we've got a list of silos we can use. So you've got clips, hair color, long hair, Remy, maintenance index. So we've got hair. I'm going to select my index page. If If I hover over that hair keyword, I can see that's going to make me 700 Rand a month, sorry, $700. Competing pages is 10 million. That's huge. I'm probably going to get rid of that one, but I'll show you just now. What we'll do here is we just start straight off with hair extensions. Maintenance for the hair extension, that's too big. Magazines, clipping, hair extensions, shopping, clipping, hair salon. Hair extensions, hair salon, and hair color. Okay, and I move that to my blueprint. And there we got 3 silos for our site. If I want to get rid of a keyword like hair, I click Manage Blueprint. I click on hair, and we have this little green folder here. We can click on that, this little green arrow. And all we've got to do here is just say research, send back to research, move the keyword, and it throws it back into the grid for us. Okay. Go back to design my site, and now I want to build up the hair extensions silo. So essentially what I'm looking for is some more diverse keywords, because now when we're mapping out our site, we can't have duplications. We can't have the same word appearing 2 times and more in the actual URL. So when you're mapping out your silo architecture, guys, what's really important is when you bring in your keywords, if you've got hair repeating itself all the time, you need to find a way to use pure or partial diverse keywords so that the URL is not over-optimized. Okay, so imagine we've got index page, that's domain.com/hair extensions. There's the first mention of hair extensions. What can we put under hair extensions? Actually, you know what? I think we have to do it this way around. This is what's going to make it work. We have to start with extensions as the silo. So I'm going to move that into the index page. And I have to start at the source and work it backwards. That is probably going to make it work better just looking at these keywords we have access to. So I'm going to move that to the blueprint. I'm going to click on extensions, and under my extensions, I want to put in Brazilian hair, hairstyles, rootless hair. If you're local, you can use local terms. Clipping hair extensions, Peruvian hair, hair color, and what I'm looking at, guys, as I'm moving up, I'm looking at where I can make my profit first, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 keywords. I can move those to the blueprint. When the page reloads, we'll have that silo mapped out, and that took us literally a few minutes. Okay, so now when we look at the home page, we've got extensions, clip and hair extensions, so there's 1, 2 mentions. We've got Brazilian hair, Peruvian hair, hairstyles, hair color, rootless hair. All these keywords that we've seen here are related to the hair extensions market from what we've seen. As we look through the different keyword sets in Kraken, we saw this repetition of hair extensions and the different types of hair extensions. Okay, so can you see how I've quickly mapped out that silo structure over there? So for now, I'm going to pull hair extensions out in these things. I'm going to take them out for now, and I'm going to go to Manage Blueprint. And you can either delete the keyword by checking here and deleting it, or you can actually come here and just throw it back into research. So we can use those keywords as part of the EKDNA because they are important. It's not that they're not important, it's just we don't want to use them right at this point in time in the actual architecture of the site, the URL design. Okay, so hair color, I'm going to take him out here. Now, if you want a specific ordering done on the actual site, on each keyword, when you click on a little folder with the icon over there, it opens up a page where you can make notes. Okay, so on extensions, we can actually come in here and we can write our notes. over here about our competitors, what our plans are, all that kind of stuff. We can say the order that we want it to come in. And if you find that the metadata is skewed, i.e. the PPC is wrong and all this kind of stuff is not right, then you can actually come in and update it to whatever you're comfortable with. So you can control the metadata of each keyword as you move along through the process. Okay, guys, so in a few seconds, I've quickly designed a silo site. And I'm going to export this, but what I want to do first is I just want to come into here, clean this up, and I'll show you how we move this in with Video Kraken, just so we can see what the site looks like. Okay, so while that's loading up, guys, do you have any questions on how to use DWS? Do you sort of get the general idea of how we can look at the data, find out what keywords are the most important, what are the most profitable ones, and then how we can actually rapidly map out our silo structures? So we've got index page here. When we import the site, this keyword will not be there. I just put this in so that we can always be aware of what we're doing. Okay, so before I leave the screen, do you guys have any questions on the screen on anything that's not clear? Do you understand the process of how to use this? Bill's asking a question here. If you add a keyword to the silo and there's a red X, doesn't fit the business rules, should you then adjust the rules so that the check goes green? Okay, these checks are just indicators. So when we see the red X here, it's saying to us it's not profitable because the 2M stands for 2 months. So within 2 months, it's not going to be profitable because it exceeds your development cost by $2,584. Okay. If we see the green, there is potential profitability, and there's about $869 we'll make profit on that actual hair extensions keyword. Okay. If we go to 12 months, we look for a year. Within that year, that keyword, the one that was costing us money, $2,500, by the end of the year, we'll be making $7,553. So this is what these X's indicate. They show us the amount of time required for the actual investment, because every time you create a page, you have to invest something into that page. It's not just a matter of writing an article. It's getting it live. It's optimizing that page. It's getting that page ranked for the target keyword that you're working on. It's all the stuff involved is what creates all the cost when you build your site out. And this helps us sort of gauge how we're going to back our way into the actual market. So you can go for the easier ones first, and get those ranked, and as you're getting money in, you can then always come back and add. So if we wanted to add, where's the red one? Clip-in hair extensions, which we have. I actually want to take that one out. Which one's more profitable? $349. Yeah, he's not profit. He's going to cost me 2,000. Okay, that one's fine. So that's quite interesting. Yeah, with clipping, they use a dash in it. That one's got more profit than the other one without the dash. Pets. Did you prioritize your selection for silo structure based on direct sales RPM, highest first, black, down to lowest? Revenue per month, RPM. Yeah, I basically watch the RPM column. This is looking at what it costs us versus the potential conversions. So we'll take the conversions, multiply it by what our profit is, and then we deduct the cost, which leaves us with whatever the number is over there. Okay. Indirect sales is looking at, if you have a list, what will you actually create if people actually buy off your list? So we're looking at the indirect sales. That could be things like from the wiki. It can come from educational information. How do we indirectly create transactions when we actually use those keywords within our site structure? Okay. Oh, sorry, Bo was asking over here. If you get a red X over here, all that red X is saying to you is that the actual keyword that you've put into the silo is greater than the actual keyword that's the parent. Okay. Now sometimes when I build sites, guys, I build them for the market personality, and I order and stack the keywords with the highest relevance to what the person is looking for. Now by default, what DWS does is it loads the biggest keywords to the top. So when you hover over this one here, we can see that our competing page is 700,000. We look at Brazilian hair, 387, 51, 50. So we can see the bigger conversations at the top and the smallest ones are at the bottom. Also, we can look at it from this perspective where we look at the revenue, 349, 1,400. So this one has more value. Okay, so we can actually go into manage the blueprint, click on our categories, and over here we can see which ones have the most value. Okay, so revenue per month, this one here, Brazilian hair, I'll make that number 1. So I just want to show you guys how we can order things around as we work with the system. Okay, Pat's asking, did you prioritize the selection of your silo architecture based on direct sales? And then he says, how did you work out which sub-keywords to include in your silo? Pat, this always comes back to knowing what we're selling. Okay, when you got an idea of what you're selling and you understand what the product and the service is, then the keywords make more sense. So I've been looking at the hair extension market for quite some time. There's a lot of search volume online for this, and it's quite profitable. I've got a friend in the UK who's doing about £4,000 a month just selling hair extensions on Amazon. There's a lot of money to get made in this actual market. And all I've done in this exercise here is under the extensions, I've put in the types. Okay, so what we're looking at here is we've got Peruvian, we've got Brazilian, we've got Rootis, and we've got the clipping. And those are the 4 types. Then we've got hairstyles and hair colors I just threw in because they're profitable as well. But they can be used in that process as well. But typically, what I like to do when I'm working on these type of sites is I try and categorize the stuff so that it's structured properly. Because you'll find people might come in, they'll come into your site, they'll click on extensions, and they'll go to Brazilian because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that type of black hair. Okay, or they might go for the Remy or the Indian type of hair. Or they might want natural hair. Those are links. I saw natural was here somewhere. So if we just go to natural, and we have a look at that one. These are all the types of stuff. So types is almost like a brand or a model. Okay, so if you're doing like selling TVs, we could have TV, then we can have Samsung, LG, Sony, we can have the brands, and then as supporting articles, we can actually have the product and the product number. Okay, these are all the ways we can just map our stuff out and organize the data. Because remember, when we're coming to build the site, this is the internal structure. This is the framework. This is what the persuasion layer is going to drop on top of this. So when we're thinking about the persuasion layer when we're building our sites, we need to try and envision the site from the market personality's point of view. And we have to try and see, okay, we know that Brazilian hair has more search interest, so that should actually be at the top. We want to have it more visible. Okay. Now, with DWS, coming back to Bill's question earlier on with the little red X on the side here, if you get a red X, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's just indicating that it's a greater key. The keywords competing pages is greater than the parent keyword that is underneath. And you might want to consider moving that out as a silo on its own, or coming back to the market, personality, and usability of the site. If that keyword is an important product, you want to lift it higher up in the framework so it's got more visibility and not have it buried down, even if it is a smaller keyword. So for example, if we looked at natural hair, let's just say natural hair is the most important keyword in this whole data set. Tiny keyword, supporting articles, 374, it'll make us 1 conversion a month. But just to make an example, we could take that keyword and we could move it up to the top underneath the index as an actual silo. Does that answer your questions, Pat and Bill? I just want to make sure that I've dealt with your guys' questions first before I jump to the next ones. Okay, so there we can see natural hair, and then there we can see the extensions and the types. I'm going to pull hairstyles and hair colors out because it doesn't really work with that theme. And the reason why I put it in there was just to show you how we can move things in, but then we can see it and we can actually just move it out. That doesn't belong over there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into categories. and I'm going to put those two back into my keyword bin. Okay, and then it was hairstyles. Okay, so let's get the site live and have a look at what comes back from vSilo Video Kraken. Okay, so there's our silo, 4 categories, and we still got scope to actually put brands and types because you get different lengths of hair. So on this product here, we can actually have different lengths. So we can have, I don't know, 10 centimeter, 20 centimeter, 30 centimeter, 40 centimeter lengths of hair, or packs, or whatever. We can put all those product types directly underneath the right category. So from selling products online, that's typically how I do it. I'd start with the root at the top. I'll try not to get extensions running through the URL more than twice, and I'll get categorized, and then I'll put the products underneath the right category as a supporting article level. Okay. Let's go back up here. Marina's asking, Matt, can you please talk about localization? Where would you position locales you want to rank for in a silo structure? This is a tricky one, Marina. With locales, it all depends on what your model is. Okay, if you're building a directory type of site, then essentially what you'll do is you'll put the states as your silos, the cities as categories, and then the businesses as supporting articles. Or you could have the cities as your silos and the businesses, the business type under the cities, and then you can have the businesses as supporting articles. You sort of stack them out in that way. If you're doing a small shop like Sassy where it's a local business, I typically don't put geo-locale type of keywords in the URL structure. I try not to do that because there is no need. Typically with those type of sites, the markets are so small that all you got to do is fill in your microdata over here. I'll show it to you now. That's your markup. You do your markup on your site, expressing on the business, the address, working hours, that type of stuff. And then if we look at like the homepage, for example, just by putting the address in the actual text, 58 Main Road, Port Elizabeth. It's over there as well on each page. That's more than enough. You don't need more than that. Google will know when you do Google Analytics, you set it up, you set the locale, you tell Google what country you're in, and when you verify your Google business pages and you do the markup, Google's got enough information to know exactly where this works. So when we look at AWR Cloud, you can actually just see the results of just doing it this way around. We're getting lots of inquiries through Google Webmaster Tools on variations of keywords with the locale in them. So if I go to Google Webmaster Tools, where is it there? And if we sort this by 100, and then we go by keywords, oh, we can't even. So you can see here all the keywords that are coming in from Google Webmaster Tools. Bridal hair and makeup warmer, bridal warmer. Warmer is the town that she works in. Port Elizabeth is a city. Okay, we're getting the impressions on all the geo-targeted stuff just purely by virtue. Okay, so that's keywords in position number 1. Keywords from position 1, what is that? That's something new. Okay, cool. Does that answer your question, Marina, or do you actually have more? And there's another one. It is a national website with high competition. I would also like to start ranking for big locales. However, I would prefer not to have the state or city as my silos and categories. I'm referring to the agile business. Yeah, see, with your guys' stuff, what I would do is in your design of your architecture, when we actually look at the architecture, I'm assuming you guys are going to have events at different locales where the people would actually come and sit in the classes. Could you just give me one if that's correct, Marina? Yeah, okay. So, yeah, Charles, I know you guys are working together there. So what you would do there is you'd have your site speaking about all the agile types of services that you have. But then what you'll do is you'll just create a, you just add a keyword. So you can come in here and add a keyword and just put in venues or courses. And under the courses, as your silo, you then put your locales where you're having your courses in. I know, Charles, you and I looked at Google Trends and I showed you how to find out where the hotspots were. Guys, this is another thing that I haven't really shown you guys, but if we go to Google Trends, I just want to show you this quickly because it deals with locales and it helps you find out where the interest really lies in your actual market. We had a look at this, and it was quite interesting when Charles and I looked at this with regards to his project, and it gave him a lot of insights into how to find out what he's doing. Okay, so if we go here to trends and we say Agile, let's just start with that and see what's happening there. So now add Agile, the other term that they got is Scrum. And let me just put that one in. Charles, could you just give me another keyword there that's also related to this, just so we can get a nice correlation? Just want to put a third term in. Let's just try Agile coaching, Agile training. Okay, right. So you're in Google Trends. Now, what's great about Google Trends, first of all, it shows us the interest over time. You can see this is a new and emerging market. It started off in 2005, but it's constantly growing. Agile is becoming a bigger market. Okay, but we can see that Agile training is much smaller than Agile and Scrum, which are the top of the verticals. Okay, so when we look at this, we want to go to the country that we're interested in. So we'll start off with worldwide, and we'll take that back down to the US. Okay. And over here, under regional interest, we can actually see for Agile, Maryland's got the most interest in this whole thing. If we click on Scrum, we can see Washington and Massachusetts comes in top. If we look at Agile training, Minnesota, Colorado, Virginia, Massachusetts, yeah, we can start seeing the locales where people are interested in it. Let's just put in Agile management and see what comes in there. Okay, so Agile management comes in a little bit higher. We look there, direct District of Columbia. So for each keyword that we have, we can essentially create events and we can specify the locales over here. And this is how you can quickly find out where the interest lies. So we look at the related searches. Agile development is a keyword that's actually quite big. It's top, and if you look at what's rising, Agile definition, Agile project management. So let's just put in Agile project management. Okay, we're still in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of those two. And that one. Okay, so training, management, and project management. So training and management, or project management, are the important words. Sorry, not management and project management are the important words in this industry. And when we look at the keywords, we can actually start seeing the locales for each one. Okay, so there we go. We can check it. So what I would do is I'll use these locales. I'll see, okay, are any of my events there? And this is how you can also find out where potentially new customers are by using trends. We can see the geolocale stuff. And that helps us really refine things. So coming back to DWS, I would essentially create a place called events as my silo. I'll put the locales as the actual pages, and then on that actual page in the copy, I would say where the event's going to be, what's the process to get booked in, how's the cost. I'll put a PayPal button there so the guys can sign up right there and then, and we'll just close the loop like that. Does that answer your question, Marina and Charles? Because remember, the locale stuff, you want to give the guys what they need to know, but you also need to know where are your actual customers and where must you have your events. So you could maybe just be working up here in Washington, that's the only place you work, but on the opposite side of the country in Minnesota there's a huge following. And Maryland, where's Maryland? It's here somewhere. Okay, so that's typically the approach I would take with this when I do it. That way you can have your business, you can talk about your services in Agile, and then you can speak about the events, and you can get those event pages ranked. So you could have Agile training in Minnesota, and that could be your H1 tag, your heading, and you can start targeting those keywords. Okay, cool, man. So does that sort your guys' question out there, guys? Yeah, the tool's really fast. This is a great little tool. So I'm going to just export this out quickly here, just to show you guys how it works. So I've designed my site. I want to clear these filters. Let me just check if there's any more questions over here. Pat was asking, is there a sweet spot for the number of categories under the silo? The minimum, Pat, that you need is 3. Okay, so you want to have a silo with a minimum of 3 categories. Okay, if it's got less than that, I typically say 5, but I know the minimum is roughly 3 because you want to create the theme, because it's all the keywords that are on these pages that actually create the Sonomic net that you want to build. So this is where we build the keyword DNA, and this is stuff we're going to cover shortly as well. I'll show you how to do that. But no less than 3, else you're not going to have a silo. Okay, here's a question by Welton. How many keywords would you use in a silo? You have 6 keywords, your current data set. Would you have all 6, or would you just have the highest 3 or 4? It depends on the story I want to tell. If there's 10 categories within that story, then I'll map them out. It all depends, guys. That's why I say, think about, when you're mapping out your site, think about the story you want to tell, the market personality. So when I look at this, natural hair is a small keyword. It's not going to make us much money, but I just showed you that we can move it up. If we had to put it into extensions, you will get the little red X, but it depends how you want to have it in your story. But when we look at extensions, we can see clipping extensions, Peruvian hair, Roots hair, and Brazilian hair. We've got like the 3 segmentations. We've segmented that vertical up into its market segments, and then what we can do is we can drop our themes and niches underneath those categories where they belong. Okay, so if you have 10 categories, you can stick 10 in. And when we looked at extensions, come on. It said 16. The supporting articles, suggested articles for this whole theme would be 16. So we could have 16 pages under the silo. So for example, let's just see what else we have here which I can stick in. I'm going to go down to supporting articles because I actually want to show you how it gets imported in. So under clip and hair extensions, I'm going to put in hair pieces and braiding styles. There's 2 keywords I can target. Okay, so then grab those 2. I've selected my keyword there, you can see it over there, and then move that piece there, and braiding styles, and the hair colors. I'm going to move those in over like that. Okay, and that's basically how easy it is. So under clipping hair extensions, we have hair pieces, hair colors, braiding styles, Peruvian hair, and there's our site. So what we can do next, guys, is if we want to assign keywords to the keyword DNA on extensions, I just want to reset that filter quickly. On extensions, what we can do now is we click on extensions, and I'm going to select hair extensions, hairstyles, clip and hair extensions, and I never take more than hair accessories. I never take more than 5 keywords or 4 keywords, and hair products. This is no hair products. I don't want that. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll add them as supporting terms. So I click on that link, and you might think that nothing's going to happen, but what it does is it binds those keywords to extensions. So when we click on our blueprint over here, what you're going to see is the actual Excel spreadsheet format of your actual blueprint and the costs and the actual keyword DNAs that you've set up. So when we look at hair extensions, we've got all the keywords that's in the categories as supporting keywords, but we've also got hair accessories, clip-in hair extensions, hair extensions. We've added those as existing keywords, and we'll see them now in the XML when we export that out. Okay, so this little feature here gives you a nice little option to see exactly in spreadsheet format what's going on. The checklist is just a little progress tracker, and this sort of guides you in the process. You can check these off if you want to use that. Okay. Then we have the progress chart, and over here you can see all the stuff that we've done: design my site, tech foundation, building, optimizing, import your keywords, your business rules. It takes you through the whole process, step by step, of all the things that you're going to look at and do as you're moving through the site. And then lastly, if you need any help, click on that. And on this actual screen, you'll get in-screen help specific to it. It gives you some more information that's built in and some videos that you can look at as well. Okay, so that's what those do over there. So this is the keyword decision screen, and this is at the heart of the Mini-Me site. And when you get used to this tool, you can knock out a site literally in 10 or 15 minutes. When you know exactly what you're looking for, you can go bang, 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 knock it out. And the way you're going to do that is essentially you're going to go mark for publishing, and I'm going to select just the extension here. I'm not going to take the natural hair. I'm going to export that out. We're going to come across to the blog. I just want to make sure this blog's empty. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of all those. I'm going to move them to the trash. And I'm going to trash and flush it away. If you delete your blueprint, guys, on a new site, make sure you empty the trash. Okay, that's one thing you want to do. You want to get rid of it totally. And you want to apply the same for the categories, and you want to apply the same for the actual posts that you have. So we'll go to posts, see if we've got any posts. None there. And our categories, we're going to flush away any categories that are still existent. Okay, so we're going to take all those and we're going to blow them away. There's some more. Okay, so the site's clean, there's nothing there. So I want to come back to DWS. I want to select everything except natural hair. I want to approve them. So what this does is it helps us approve what we unpublished. Now, when you're publishing a site, you can't just publish the supporting articles and not publish the parent. If the parent is not published, the siblings will not show up in the widget in the actual website. Okay, so you got to publish that one first to be able to see those four, and you have to publish the category here to see those. Okay, guys, can you give me a clear? So that's all being published. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to export my blueprint. I'm going to save it here to my desktop. Okay, sticks on the desktop. That's the extensions one. Now, when we look at this and we open it up, I use this cool little tool called FOX Editor. It's an XML editor. It's for free. And simply what it does is it gives me a nice format to actually see everything. So I can look at the whole site, all the nodes that I've created. I can see all the primary ideas, the metadata. And if we scroll down, we'll see clip-in, pavilion, hair pieces, hair colors. They're all there. I'm just checking. So there's the node I'm after, extensions. Okay. So there's all our stuff. So what we'll do now is we'll hop across here to our website. You can see it's blank. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on the video silo builder. I want to click on the actual importer, the Silo importer. Now obviously when you guys are building your sites out, you're not going to be chatting, so things will move a lot faster as well. So in this instance, I'm going to publish the site. I'm not going to put the shortcodes on. I want to browse to my file on my desktop. Desktop. There's it over there. I'm going to open it up. Now, when you export out of MiniMe, if you've got the Pro version, you can change from the primary slug to page titles or article titles. You can tweak things out and customize things more. But in MiniMe, when you export out there, everything has to be the primary keyword slug, okay, all the way through. So we click import. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the site built. Okay, that's all our pages. If we look at our pages now, there we created our site, and there's our clip and hair extensions. We click on our posts. There's the posts over there. Okay. When we click on the actual site and we review this, okay, so there's extensions. I'm going to click on extensions. And there's a crazy chick with the wigs. Okay, and there we're going to see Brazilian hair. That's what's the story about Brazilian hair and what's going on there. Here we can see what Reuters hair is. That's taking some time. Okay. So yeah, you can see how the ladies weave the stuff into their heads, and then Peruvian hair. See nice dark black hair, and then what we have here as well is clipping hair. Okay, so there's clipping hair. This is quite popular. The girls like the stuff. You can see all the little heart loves and all that stuff. They're pretty excited about the clipping hair. All right, so that's how quickly we can build a WordPress site. We literally built that site in 4 minutes. I've not touched the site. Now, typically what you would do in WordPress is you'd import it, you check all your pages are there, you'll then go to Appearances, Menus, set up your menus, okay, customize it, and unselect that, automatically add new top level pages to the site. I typically like having that off. I like to drag what I want in where. Okay, click Save. When you import the silo, this SEO silo menu, this menu will be the default one that you'll use. Okay. Manage locations for geolocated stuff. Sorry, I'm lying. That's not that. That's for where your menu goes. And then we're going to go to widgets. You drag it into your sidebar, wherever you have. You just grab the widget, drag it in. You can give it a name. You can say how many links you want to show. You can say show thumbnails, show breadcrumbs, and you can show the excerpts. The more features you add here, the more dense this menu is going to get. It's going to get thumbnails. It'll start getting excerpts underneath it. It depends on what you want to do, but you've got a lot of freedom when you're actually working with this. Okay, so this is what DWS does. Is it takes all the information that we gathered over the last few weeks, guys. All that information we gathered, all that research, all those ideas, it takes that and it helps us flesh out those ideas really quickly. And when we design our site, we can break things down to the keywords that describe them, and we can map out the story. And that's essentially what we're doing when we're building the site architecture. Think about your site architecture as the index of a book. What would be the first story that they would read? What would they read second? What would they read fourth? Think about the categories as the actual chapters of the book, and then think about the actual supporting articles as the paragraphs within the story. And this way you can map out a story that makes sense to a person. There's nothing I hate more than when I get to a website and I can't find what I'm looking for, and I've got 50 links running down the side. There's no order, there's no structure. I've got to use Control F to try and find a keyword on the page to try and link me to something. By the time I do that, it's poof, I'm out of there. I leave the website. So the better we can organize our data, the better we can make a congruency between the product we're selling with the needs that the market personality has, the better we can use the visual elements to speak to the pains and the things they're looking for, i.e. searches, the better the site's going to actually work, okay, and it'll keep people on the actual site. Okay, guys, so that's basically Mini-Me done, and that's how easy it is to map out a site. It's a very, very powerful little tool, but by using the plugins and by using the site to generate the sites for us, we can build out sites rapidly. Like in 4 seconds, we had all our pages built, mapped up, silo architecture done in WordPress, all done and dusted. That site can go live, and we can just let it sit there and start driving traffic to it and start testing, measuring, and converting. And that's how it works, guys, at this stage. I see some more questions have come in. I want to start wrapping this up now. If you've got any questions, just fire them across now with regards to DWS and Kraken. And by the end of next week, we want to actually start looking at your guys' websites. And what I'd like to do next week is I'd like to see the site up with a minimum of a silo, an index page, a silo, and 3 categories. That's what I want to look at. And I'd like to start discussing your products on these calls when we're actually looking at these sites. I think that will sort of give you guys a little nudge just to get the stuff up, and then we can critique and talk and make suggestions based on what you're building out. So I'm going to jump into these questions quickly, and then we can wrap this call up. Okay. So Pat's asking, on the number of supporting articles, is it correct to assume that you need 16 pages in the extension silo, or which could be 4 categories and 4 supporting articles under each of the 16 categories? No, it's 16 pages in total, guys. This is where there's a lot of confusion. If we were building hairstyles, if you're targeting that keyword, that theme, at a minimum we need 6 articles for that actual theme. That theme could potentially be a silo, like we've done with extensions, and if I needed 16, I could have 4 categories, and under each of the categories I could have another 4 pages, and that'll get me up to the 16 total. It doesn't have to be 16 exactly, it's just in that area. If you got into that area, put it this way, guys, the more content you create, the less external backlinks you have to create. Okay, that's why we use the blog. We promote our own material through our blog, and then we link back to the primary money site, or we link back to the blog. Because the blog is on a subdomain, it inherits the page rank, and the primary site also inherits page authority from the actual blog as well. They both work with each other. So the more content you have on site, the less backlinks you typically need off site. Okay, so with the number that we're suggesting over here, this is based on competitive and size of market. Like there, here's one that's 33 million for maintenance. That's a very broad term. You'd never really target something like that. You'd use it in your URL structure, i.e. we could have a category called maintenance. That's actually a good idea. So I wanted this one here, clipping head extensions. Clipping head extensions. Maintenance. I'm going to add that one in there. Then what we'll do is on that actual article, we'll speak about how to maintain hair extensions. Okay, so there we can build up that number, and it's just an estimate to basically give you a gauge of how big your site should be and what you should be considering, especially when you have to start ordering content. Many times you want to order content and you're like, what do I need to build out? So the SSA gives us an indication of how big the topic is. Now if you look at hair, for example, this is a 10 million phrase match site, okay? In hair, there's lots. We've got wedding hair, we've got bridal hair, we've got hair for parties, we've got hair for events, we've got school hair. I just make up, there's all kinds of hair and hairstyles. We can find 20 articles we need to build out when we segment it up and organize that data. But it has to be congruent to what you're selling, it has to be profitable, and it must speak to the needs of your market personality. That's the only thing I say. Okay, if you can't, don't just create pages for the sake of 20 pages. Focus more on the context of the actual story and who you're speaking to. That's probably the best thing I could say at this point with regards to that number for the SSA column. Okay. Pat, does that answer your question? I just want to make sure we cleared it on up for you. Just give me one. Okay, cool. We've got a question from Welton here. So any video silo builder is to be used on our money sites or blog or both? Welton, I always just use the video silo builder to rapidly test the sites. Okay, on my sandbox, I just use it in because it brings in content. It brings in comments. We can bring in comments and all kinds of stuff as well. And we can see the language people are using. We can look at their videos. It gives us a feel for the theme. And is the stuff contextually accurate? Is it speaking to the right audience? So when we're talking about hair extensions, you can see the people we're dealing with. When we spoke about Peruvian hair, we can see like braiding styles. Even looked at that one there. What's interesting is when I look at the videos, I can see the market personalities who would be interested in back to school hairstyles, which is quite interesting. When we look at hair colors, once again, you can see the market personalities. So this makes the whole market really interesting, and we can read what they're saying and what they're talking about. And it helps us tell a better story. Does that answer your question, Welton? Yes, if it does. Okay, cool. What's next? Okay, Bill's got a question on the Silo plugin. Okay, let's just go there quickly. Any Silo builder? Right, so the question is, does the third level supporting articles always import as posts? Can it be configured to import as pages? And can the plugin be configured to import with comments turned off? Bill, with the Deep Silo plugin, okay, there's two plugins we've got. We've got the Simple Silo Builder, and the Simple Silo Builder only does 3 tiers. So I'm just going to type this out for you guys so you guys can get this, because it does create confusion. So the Simple Silo is actually built for the blog, okay, and the way this works is it creates categories plus posts. So if you import, and this is what you call a 3-tiered site, okay? And the reason why I say that is domain.com/silo/category. Actually, I'm lying. It's category post /post. And typically we use this for the WR1 blog, okay? That's what you use the Simple Silo for. Now, when we use the Deep Silo Builder, this is for the WR1 money site, and that gives us the opportunity to go down to 4 tiers, okay? And the 4 tiers are basically domain.com/silo/category/ the supporting articles, okay? And what we have there is that the silos are equal to pages, the categories are equal to pages, and the supporting articles are equal to posts, okay? Now what happens is at the category level, we override the default WordPress category page and we force it to be a page because it ranks better this way around. And this is how we get the 4 tiers. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how we get the 4 tier type of thing. So for this one, 4 tier equals Deep Silo. Okay. For the blog, it's the 3 tier, it's a Simple Silo. That's the difference. That's how you must use the two. Now, Video Silo, okay, the options we have here is we can embed shortcodes into the page. We can control the template over here. We can specify the duration of video, when it comes from. We can pull from our own channel. We can add or deselect video comments if there are any. And if we have any other shortcodes that we'd like to insert here into the post as well, we can actually just create our own over here and stick them in. We can also customize the styles of the actual the menu. We can make the styles bigger, so we can take this up to, let's just say 14. We can save that. So if the navigation is a bit small, we can tweak it and we can change its actual color. So if we refresh this page, we should see those get bigger. Okay, so you see how they got bigger there. Does that answer your questions, Bill? Let me just pull this up again for you guys so you can actually see that. Can you give me one if that's clear for you, Bill? Okay, cool. Right, so I'm going to make this bigger so you guys can actually consume that information and see it. Is that better for you guys? Okay. So let's look at the next one. Pat's always asking, do you always start with vCracken to test? When do you begin to look at having articles written for the site? At this stage, Pat, what I do is exactly what I showed you guys today. I develop a prototype. I go to my sandbox. I import it. I have a look and see what content's coming back. I look for more ideas, maybe better ways of expressing it. I look at what are the keywords at the heart of it. So, for example, how to dye black hair to brown without bleaching. So if we're talking about dyeing hair and this kind of stuff, there would be words that would run in Kraken, bleaching, or TLKT, we'll put bleaching, or we'll say dye hair. Those are the kind of words I extract when I do this process, and I look at my blueprint and I say to myself, okay, cool, in the context of the conversation, i.e. the silo, does these keywords fit in here, and how am I going to incorporate them to actually give us a story? Okay, so there you can see maintenance is a huge keyword. It's like 33 million. We've got an X because it's bigger than clipping hair extensions, which is 700,000 pages. Sorry for the weird jump there, but I just wanted to show you because I saw it. But yeah, that's what I do, Pat. I try and use all the resources that are around me, and when we use the vSilo, it saves us so much time. You saw how quickly we put that site up. I'm already back into analysis, looking at competitive things and what videos are coming back on my site. Okay, so that's a great way of just looking at it. And also, if you bought a silo structure, you can essentially put this live, okay, and you can let it sit there, and you'll see that these pages will actually start ranking. And you can put the project on the icebox maybe for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and by the time you come back to this project, you'll notice that these keywords that you actually have here, you'll start ranking for them, and they'll already moved up for quite a few positions, purely because of the silo architecture, and it'll take you up to like probably the top 50 pages, so you'll move quite a lot forward, depending on the keywords that you're targeting. If they're super competitive, then it won't, but on most cases, you will get that movement. And that's your site growing over time, getting indexed, and when you come back and optimize and tweak and take out videos and replace them with your own, you've already won quite a bit of ground with no investment. So this is also one of the reasons why I would use vSilo at that stage. If I had too many projects on the go at the same time, I'll let others incubate. I'll put them out there, I'll let them sit, and I'll let them move up. Okay. Welton's asking, would your subdomain structure be www.blog.com, or would it just be www.domain.com/blog? Welton, we don't put the blog in the actual root of the www. Okay, www, we keep that for the primary money site. We then create a subdomain called blog or news or something like that, and we'll install the blog on a separate subdomain. The reason for that is if one of them get hacked, if you've got the domain.com/blog type of setup, you could potentially get both your site down. Your money site and your blog would drop at the same time. However, if you've got them on subdomains, they have to take both down, so it's double the effort. Okay, so this is why we keep things separate. Remember, the framework I'm teaching you guys, everything is a component or an action. Okay, components are things that we plug in, i.e. WordPress plugins, themes, XML sites. Actions are things like doing semantic markup, putting out a CDN on your site, all those kind of things, setting up your opt-in forms. Okay, so when you start thinking about a modular type of framework and a design, then it becomes much, much clearer and better from a security point of view to separate the two. Marina's asking, Matt, I noticed the Sassy's hair silo. I noticed the Sassy's hair silo categories are worded differently than the actual words. I assume you change them after they've been imported. Yes. What we do, Marina, is when we create our sites, and if we click on the hair extensions, this is what Russell spoke to you last week when he was talking about the persuasion layer. When we map out our framework in DWS, okay, and we have the most important keywords mapped out in their technical structure, we know that these keywords are the ones that we want and be prepared to invest in because we believe we're going to get a return on investment back, okay? Once we got that done, we have to humanize the site and we have to come back and start speaking to the pains. So on this one here, we're targeting the URL anchor is wedding hair, okay? But we are changing it and putting a bit more persuasion. We say need wedding hair professionals. Next one is hair salon. Sassy hair salon, best in Port Elizabeth. We're making a statement. Hair care. Need hair care. Sassy's hair care rescue program will prevent embarrassing moments. So what we try and do with our navigation is we try and basically speak to the pain of the market personality. Now obviously in different markets you have different types of pains that you can use and you can speak to things in different ways. But on this type of site we had to be very sassy. Want us to keep things very carefully. They don't want to have things too extreme. So yeah, we just joked around about bad hair days. We just messed around. And what this actually does, it gives a very clear context of what the girls' quality work is in comparison to what you could get if you were a Backstreet Boys fan and you had those weird haircuts like that. Okay, so does that answer your question, Marina? Okay, cool. Okay, so Bill's asking, after you import using the Silo plugin, will any additional pages added manually fall into the appropriate silos if the parent category is chosen? Let me read it again. Bill, if you go into DWS and you add another thing like maintenance, for example, when we come to publish, and we publish those extra nodes, okay? So hair extensions and maintenance over here, and we approve them. When we save this XML and we re-import it, it will automatically stick their natural hair as a silo and will stick maintenance as a supporting article, okay? If you go in manually into WordPress and you create a new page, you're going to have to manually go and create a page for you'll have to create a category. If we're doing maintenance, it's just a post and we assign the category as the parent. That's it's normal, same process. However, if we manually add a silo or we manually add a category keyword, we need to create a page for the category, and I'll show you now. Where are we? Let's go to our pages, categories. Essentially what has to happen is we have to create a category and the slug must be identical to the page slug. Okay, so the category must mirror the actual page. They've got to be identical. So you have to create a page and you have to create a category, and that will force the category page to be shown rather than the category listing page. Okay, does that answer your question, Bill? Is that clear there for you? So from DWS we can add a keyword, publish it, import it, and all the pages you have already will not get overwritten. Okay, it will just get ignored. But the ones that have been missed, those gaps will get filled in. If you manually do it, you just always make sure that you have a category and a page, and they must be identical at the slug level. Okay, you can change the name, but the slugs must be identical. Okay. Guru's asking, can you give an example where you do a test like this and it doesn't work out? Yeah, sure, I'll show you one now. This is actually quite an interesting one. Let me just import another XML and I'll show you guys. Okay, so let me clear out the posts. The only time it doesn't work out, Drew, is when you deal with polysyms. For you guys who don't know what polysyms are words that have two meanings, i.e. we can have apple, the computer, or we can have apple, the fruit, okay? Now, when we use vKraken, sorry, VideoCyler, not vKraken, what happens is YouTube will sometimes bring back polysym type videos, okay? And we'll see it now when I import in this other blueprint quickly. And I want to delete those permanently. Okay, so I'm going to go to the Silo importer. And I want to go browse. And grab that one there. Add to that, and I'm going to import that. Now in this example I was actually speaking to the whole polysyms thing. For example, if you think about a crane, this blueprint I just did a quick one demonstrating video equipment, but purely because of the word crane, it brought back in, let's just refresh this page, brought back keywords that had actual forklifts and all those kind of things built into them. So let's just go do some tweaks here, pages. Okay, it's all there, so let's go to my appearance, menus, and I want to grab that one, that one, that one. I want to add that to the menu. Save that. Okay, so refresh this now. That's not going to work. Go to home. Right, so we got the jib. I just got to find it. Camera tripod. Jib. Camera crane. Let's see what comes back there. Okay, that one works. I had crane. I took it out of this one. I had crane as one of the silo terms, but the actual crane, that term is predominantly owned more by the actual machinery that lift up containers and do pushing heavy grounds. That's more for construction, the cranes, than it is for actual camera cranes. Okay, so I don't have that actually here to show you. I thought I did. I took it out because I saw this, so sorry, I don't have an example right now, but do you sort of get to understand? Do you know what I'm saying? Ru, can you just give me a yes if you check that? Cool, okay. Right, guys, let's check, is there any more questions here? Okay, Pat's asking, after testing is finished, is it as simple as replacing video with my content? Yeah. That's right, Pat. You can come in here, you can just tweak and change as you want. You can sort of check the images, you can change things up. Because remember, you can, when you launch your sites, you're going to find that it's a repetitive, iterative process. You're going to sort of go through, build your site, get your silo up, get the content on it, stick it live. That's going to be sitting there and it's going to start slowly moving up the rankings because you'll get an index when you start launching it. Then you come back and you build your second silo and you'll build the categories, content, videos, bang, you push that live, just like we did now. And you can do silo by silo by silo. And every week you come back, silo 1's moved so much and silo 2's starting to move. By the time you finish silo 3, you can come back to silo 1 and you can start refining. and tweaking, and you'll have a lot of stuff coming back. You'll start seeing movement in your analytics. You'll start seeing things happening in your webmaster tools, like little errors and things will pop up. All these little things will start happening as the site starts to move, and you can tweak and fix those things because you're not at the money yet. You're not on the first page. Only when you're in positions 1, 2, 3, you're basically in the game. So while your site's slowly moving forward, what you want to do is this thing come along and start tweaking and fixing things up, and you'll find that this will help you move things much faster. Plus, it's also proof of concept. This is why I love the Video Seller plugin. It's great. It gives you a feel for what your site could potentially look like, and it helps you with getting some ideas.
Exactly. Okay, excellent. Looks like you really nailed all the questions.
Yeah, I think that's about it, for today. Guys, can you give me one if you're clear on how to use DWS to map out your stylos and the concepts behind it? Okay, cool.
Great.
Sorry, Rush, you're breaking in and out.
I'm saying Stephen is also saying that he's got a lot more sense out of it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect now.
Okay, and Stan is saying he's got a lot of work to do. Yes, you do. Tune in so Matt can get some sleep on this. Probably getting a training session.
Yeah, Russ, you're cutting out. We can't hear you.
Okay.
You there, Russ?
I am, but I have a connection problem, so why don't you wrap it up?
Okay, cool. No worries. I'll do it for you then. Okay, cool, guys. So the last time we had our chats, guys, we spoke about your business, what you're doing, and we basically had a little chat about how you can move forward and what keywords you get for Kraken. Basically, near the end of this week, I would like to start touching base with you guys again for round 2 of our chats when you guys have got free time. But I only want to start speaking to you at this stage once you actually have your first silo up. That's one of the conditions, because we've covered everything with regards to that. So as soon as you got your silo up, then we can actually come look at it. I want to have a look at your site, and then I want to chat to you a bit more, and we can talk specifically about your project. And I think that's going to help you guys get to where you want to be much faster. And I can also clarify things in the actual tools as you come to get your hands dirty. So this is where the fun stuff comes. We've done a lot of theory. We've done a lot of learning about market analysis. We've done a lot of learning about persuasion. We understand how to find the pains in the market. Now we have to take all this knowledge we've gathered, we have to apply it, and we have to inject that into our stuff. And this is where we use the tools to rapidly develop the sites out. So we don't have to sit for days building pages. We do proof of concept, import the XML, look at it. Is it nice? Yes, no. No, back to the drawing board. Better keywords. We flesh the story out. And remember, guys, you're telling a story. The better you can tell the story, the better you can convert. The more clearer your story is, i.e. with the keywords you choose and the elements you use on your page, the better your page is going to convert. If you're earning $1,000 on your site and you get a 1% conversion, that 1,000 becomes 2,000. It's as simple as that. You can incrementally increase the money you make off your sites by refining. But the refining process only starts when you get your site live, when you've got analytics and you can see the language that people use, and you can start incorporating that feedback into your site and make it better over time. Okay, so guys, it's Matt Cruz and Russell Wright from networkempire.com. Super stoked to spend some time with you all tonight, and I'm really glad to be able to show you guys how to get the most out of our tools at Network Empire. So if you get stuck, please don't try and hit your head against the wall to figure it out. Rather just get on Skype, drop me a message, say, Matt, I'm stuck on X, Y, and Z. Just be very clear in your question, and I'll do all I can to get you through that little bottleneck as fast as possible so you can get on with what you're doing and not have your time wasted. Okay, excellent, guys. You all have a wonderful day, and that's us out of here. And I'll speak to you all soon. Thanks, guys. Meta Cruz and Russ Rod signing out.